Bella Okafor didn't come to Seoul to humiliate crime lords. But when opportunity presented itself at an exclusive diplomatic casino reception, she wasn't about to pass it up. "Another champagne, Miss Okafor?" The server approached her position near the high-stakes poker tables. "No, thank you. I prefer to keep my head clear around sharks." Bella gestured toward the main table, where a Korean man in an impeccable black suit was dominating the game with calculated precision. Kwon Taejoon. She'd been briefed on him, owner of Crimson Hawk Entertainment, which ran half of Seoul's legitimate casinos and all of the underground ones. Estimated net worth, billions. Estimated body count, classified but significant. He was also, apparently, insufferably arrogant. "These diplomatic types," she heard him say, in Korean to his companion, intentionally loud enough for the room to hear. "All talk about ethics and fairness, but put them at a real table where skill matters, and they fold like paper. No spine, no real understanding of risk." Several diplomats shifted uncomfortably. Bella's colleague, Ambassador Chen, whispered, "Ignore him. He's trying to provoke someone." "Well, it's working." Bella set down her glass and walked directly to Taejoon's table. In perfect Korean, she said, "Mr. Kwon, I couldn't help but overhear your assessment of diplomatic courage. Would you care to test that theory?" Taejoon looked up, and Bella watched him do the calculation every powerful man did when encountering her. Beautiful black woman, diplomatic credentials, confident posture, dismiss or engage. His smile was sharp as a knife. "And you are?" "Bella Okafor, senior attaché, South African Embassy. I handle trade negotiations, which means I'm very good at reading people and calling bluffs." She gestured to the empty chair. "So I'll ask again. Care to test your theory, or were you just making noise?" The room went silent. Taejoon's eyes gleamed with interest and amusement. "What stakes did you have in mind, Miss Okafor?" "High enough to matter. If I win, you serve as my personal bodyguard for 30 days. No substitutes, no excuses, complete obedience to my security requirements." The room gasped. Several people laughed. The idea of Kwon Taejoon, Seoul's untouchable entertainment king, serving as anyone's bodyguard was absurd. Taejoon leaned back, studying her. "And if I win?" "I'll personally facilitate a trade agreement between South Africa and your legitimate casino operations. Mining contracts, entertainment partnerships, whatever you want within legal bounds. Worth approximately 50 million over 5 years. You have that authority? I have that influence, and unlike you, I keep my word." Taejoon's smile widened. "Dangerous, delighted. Texas Hold'em, best of 7 hands. These 50 witnesses serve as binding arbiters. Agreed?" "Agreed." They shook hands, and Bella felt the electric charge of competition. This man had no idea what he'd just agreed to. Her grandfather had been a card sharp in Johannesburg, one of the best. Before he died, he'd taught Bella everything: how to read micro-expressions, how to calculate odds instantly, how to control the narrative of a game. "Ada," he'd called her by her middle name. "People underestimate pretty girls. Smart, pretty girls. Use that. Let them think you're lucky, not skilled. Then take everything." Bella had used those skills to become one of South Africa's youngest senior diplomats, reading negotiators, predicting moves, knowing when to fold and when to press. Poker was just diplomacy with cards. The game started. Taejoon was good, technically excellent, in fact. He read opponents well, controlled his expressions, played mathematically sound poker. But Bella was better. She let him win the first two hands, playing cautious, letting him think she was intimidated. The room relaxed, assuming this would be a quick, embarrassing loss for the diplomat who'd bitten off more than she could chew. Then Bella started playing for real. Hand 3. She bluffed him out of a strong position with a weak pair, reading his hesitation perfectly. Hand 4. She trapped him into overbetting on a flush draw that never completed. Hand 5. She folded strategically, sacrificing the hand to study his patterns. By hand 6, Bella had figured out his tell, the way his left index finger tapped once, almost imperceptibly, when he was bluffing. A tiny gesture, probably unconscious, but fatal against someone who'd been trained to notice everything. "You're quite good, Miss Okafor," Taejoon admitted, though his confidence remained. They were tied at 3 hands each. But luck runs out eventually. "This isn't luck, Mr. Kwon. This is skill, something you claimed diplomats didn't have." The final hand dealt. Bella looked at her cards. Ace and King of Hearts. Strong starting hand. The flop came. Queen of Hearts, Jack of Hearts, 10 of Spades. Bella had a straight, but there was potential for a flush if 2 more hearts appeared. Taejoon bet aggressively. His finger didn't tap. He had something strong. The turn, 9 of Hearts. Bella now had a straight flush draw, 1 card away from an almost unbeatable hand. Taejoon raised substantially. Several diplomats gasped at the amount. Bella called, her face serene. "All in. You're bluffing," Taejoon said, but there was uncertainty now. Only one way to find out. The river card turned. 3 of Hearts. Bella laid down her cards. Royal flush. Ace, King, Queen, Jack, 10, all hearts. The room exploded. A royal flush was the rarest, most powerful hand in poker, statistically nearly impossible. But Bella had read the game perfectly, played the odds, and capitalized on the one combination Taejoon hadn't anticipated. Taejoon stared at the cards, then at Bella, then at the 50 witnesses who just watched him lose for the first time in 20 years. "Well played," he said quietly, and the admission cost him. "Thank you." Bella stood, extending her hand. "I expect you at the South African Embassy tomorrow morning, 8 a.m. sharp. Bring appropriate bodyguard credentials. We have security briefings to complete before you begin your 30 days of service." She walked away, leaving Kwon Taejoon, crime lord, casino king, untouchable power broker, sitting at a poker table, beaten by a diplomat he'd underestimated. The next morning, Taejoon arrived at the embassy at exactly 8 a.m. He wore a black suit that probably cost more than most people's cars, sunglasses that screamed, "I'm too important for this," and an expression that could freeze hell. "Mr. Kwon, punctual. Good start." Bella greeted him at the security desk, wearing a professional navy suit and the slight smirk of someone who'd won. "We'll need you to fill out these forms: background check, security clearance, acknowledgement of diplomatic protocols. I'm not actually a bodyguard. No, you're a crime lord who lost a bet and is now contractually obligated to serve as my bodyguard for 30 days in front of 50 witnesses from both legitimate and criminal spheres. If you default, your reputation, the one thing you value more than money, is destroyed. So please, fill out the forms." Taejoon took the clipboard, his jaw tight. "Also," Bella continued cheerfully, There's a clause in our verbal agreement I should mention. If you fail to adequately protect me, even once during these 30 days, if I'm threatened, injured, or compromised due to your negligence, you owe me another 30 days. So I'd suggest taking this seriously. You're enjoying this immensely. You insulted an entire profession, assumed I'd be an easy mark, and learned a very expensive lesson about underestimating people. Yes, Mr. Kwon, I'm enjoying this very much. I'll fulfill the terms perfectly, and then I never want to see you again. We'll see. Bella's smile was enigmatic. I have a diplomatic reception tonight at the Shilla Hotel. Multiple ambassadors, some corporate espionage risks, and at least one country that would love to sabotage South African trade deals. You'll accompany me, stay within 10 feet at all times, and ensure my safety. Wear something less Mafia boss, more professional security. I know how to do my job. You lost a poker game to a diplomat last night. Forgive me for not trusting your competence. For the first time, Bella saw genuine anger flash in Taejoon's eyes. Quickly controlled, but present. She'd struck a nerve. Good. Let him be angry. Let him be humiliated. Men like him needed to learn that power didn't make them infallible. What Bella didn't anticipate was how competent he'd actually be at the job. That evening at the Shilla Hotel, Taejoon transformed. He positioned himself strategically, read the room like a professional, identified 3 potential security risks before Bella's official detail noticed them, and moved with the kind of silent efficiency that came from years of living in danger. How did you know that waiter was carrying a concealed weapon? Bella asked, after Taejoon had quietly alerted security to remove the man. Body language, weight distribution, the way he avoided eye contact with anyone important. I've been around armed men my entire life, Miss Okafor. I know what they look like. It's Bella. If you're going to be my shadow for 30 days, use my name. Fine, Bella, and you can call me Taejoon, since we're apparently stuck together. We are. And Taejoon, thank you for catching that. My regular detail missed it. He looked surprised, like he'd expected continued mockery, not genuine gratitude. It's literally my job for the next 30 days. Don't thank me for doing what you forced me to do. But something shifted in that moment. A grudging respect, perhaps, or the realization that their arrangement might be more complicated than simple humiliation and servitude. By day 3, they'd fallen into a rhythm. By day 7, Taejoon had prevented 2 security breaches and 1 potential kidnapping attempt. By day 14, Bella realized something terrifying. She was starting to respect him, maybe even like him. And from the way Taejoon watched her during negotiations, with something that looked almost like admiration, he might be feeling something similar. 30 days suddenly seemed both too long and not nearly long enough. Would you have taken the bet or let the insult slide? Drop your thoughts in the comments. If you're already hooked on this story about a poker game that forced enemies into partnership, hit subscribe and tell me what you think will happen during these 30 days. This is about to get intense. Now let's continue. Day 10 of the bet, Bella learned something unexpected about Kwon Taejoon. He was genuinely brilliant at security work. There's a blind spot in your apartment building's surveillance, he informed her during their morning briefing. 3rd floor stairwell. Someone could access your floor undetected. I've already contacted building management to install additional cameras. You had no authority to do that. I have authority to keep you alive, which is literally the only thing preventing me from walking away from this humiliating arrangement. He pulled up building schematics on his tablet. Also, your regular diplomatic security detail is mediocre at best. They're trained for formal threats, protesters, aggressive journalists, not for the kind of people who'd actually want to hurt you. And you know about those people? I am those people. His expression was matter of fact. Bella, you're negotiating trade deals worth billions. You're making enemies, corporations that will lose contracts, countries that want those deals for themselves. Your polite security guards won't stop a professional hit. I will. That's actually reassuring and terrifying in equal measure. Welcome to my world. Over morning coffee, Bella studied him. Taejoon was nothing like the arrogant peacock from the poker table. In professional mode, he was focused, efficient, and surprisingly thoughtful about her needs. Why are you really here? She asked suddenly. You could default on the bet, take the reputation hit. You're powerful enough to survive embarrassment. No, I'm not. Taejoon's voice was quiet. In my world, reputation is currency. The moment people think I don't keep my word, I'm vulnerable. Every rival, every ambitious lieutenant, every punk who wants my territory will see weakness. This humiliation, serving as your bodyguard, is actually less dangerous than defaulting would be. So you're protecting yourself by protecting me. Exactly. Self-interest. Nothing noble about it. But Bella didn't entirely believe that. She'd watched him work for 10 days. He went beyond the minimum, researching her schedule, anticipating threats, adjusting security protocols without being asked. That wasn't just contractual obligation. That afternoon, Bella had meetings at the Blue House with Korean government officials. High-level trade negotiations that could reshape South African-Korean economic relations. I'll need you to wait outside, she told Taejoon. This is classified diplomatic discussion. Then you're going in vulnerable. There are 12 people in that room you've never met. Anyone could be compromised, carrying weapons, or planning to harm you. The Blue House has security. The Blue House has political security, not personal protection. His eyes were intense. Bella, you hired me, however involuntarily, because I'm good at this. Let me do my job. Something in his voice made her reconsider. Fine, but you stay silent, observe only, and if you repeat anything discussed in that room, I'll have you arrested for espionage. Fair terms. Inside the meeting, Bella negotiated complex mineral rights agreements, while Taejoon stood against the back wall, nearly invisible. She almost forgot he was there until she noticed his slight head tilt. A signal. Following his gaze, she saw one of the Korean officials texting under the table. Unusual during a classified meeting. After the meeting, Taejoon quietly informed Blue House security. The official was investigated and found to be leaking information to a Chinese intelligence front. How did you know? Bella asked in the car afterward. He was too nervous, sweating despite the air conditioning, eyes darting to his phone every 30 seconds, and the way he angled away from security cameras. Professional evasion. I've seen it 1,000 times in my own organization when someone's turned traitor. You just prevented an intelligence breach. I prevented you from being compromised, which is my job. But there was satisfaction in his voice. Thank you, Taejoon. Genuinely. He looked uncomfortable with her gratitude. Don't make this weird. I'm fulfilling a contract, not being heroic. But they both knew it was more than that now. Day 15 brought the first real test. Bella was attending a private dinner with South African business leaders at an exclusive restaurant. Taejoon cleared the venue beforehand, positioned himself strategically, and seemed satisfied with security arrangements. Then, halfway through dinner, 3 armed men burst in, not targeting anyone specifically, just a robbery. Taejoon moved before anyone else reacted. He disarmed the first gunman with brutal efficiency, dropped the second with a precise strike to the solar plexus, and had the third in a chokehold within seconds. The entire confrontation lasted 20 seconds. Nobody moves, Taejoon said calmly in Korean, then English, holding the unconscious third gunman. Police are already called. Everyone stays calm. Bella watched him handle the situation with the practiced ease of someone who'd done this hundreds of times, just usually on the other side of the law. After police took statements and removed the would-be robbers, the restaurant owner approached Taejoon. Sir, I don't know who you are, but thank you. You saved my business, maybe lives. Taejoon just nodded, uncomfortable with the gratitude. In the car afterward, Bella noticed his knuckles were bleeding. Let me see. She reached for his hand. It's fine. Let me see, Taejoon. He let her examine his hand. The skin was split across 2 knuckles. Not serious, but needed cleaning. You're good at this, Bella said quietly, dabbing antiseptic from the first aid kit she now carried. The protection thing. You could have been legitimate security, made good money, helped people. I make better money being a criminal. But does it make you happy? The question seemed to catch him off guard. Happiness is for people with options. I built what I have from nothing. No family money, no connections, just intelligence and ruthlessness. The Crimson Hawk Syndicate is my legacy. A legacy of what? Casinos and underground gambling? Is that what you want to be remembered for? It's what I am. It's what you've been. Doesn't have to be what you become. Bella finished bandaging his hand. Thank you for tonight. You didn't just fulfill your contract. You went above and beyond. That means something. Don't try to reform me, Bella. I'm not a charity project. I'm not trying to reform you. I'm just wondering if maybe you've been underestimating yourself the same way you underestimated me at that poker table. Day 18 changed everything. Bella received an anonymous threat via email. Cancel the mining deal negotiations or face consequences. You have 48 hours. This is serious, Taejoon said, analyzing the message. Sent through multiple proxies, professional encryption. Whoever sent this has resources. I'm not canceling negotiations because of threats. That's literally giving in to economic terrorism. Then we need to increase security substantially. I'm moving into your apartment. Absolutely not. Bella, they've threatened you with a specific deadline. That means they're planning something. I can't protect you adequately if I'm 20 minutes away in a hotel. I sleep on your couch, maintain professional distance, but I'm there if something happens. She wanted to argue, but the email had genuinely frightened her, and Taejoon's competence had become undeniable. Fine, but separate rooms, strict boundaries. Obviously, that night, having Taejoon in her apartment was strange. He set up his laptop at her dining table, reviewing security footage and running threat assessments. Occasionally, he'd get up to check windows, door locks, sight lines. "You don't sleep much," Bella observed around 2 a.m., finding him still awake. "Sleep makes you vulnerable. I'll rest when the threat is neutralized." "Taejoon, you've been protecting me for 18 days straight. You're human. You need rest. I'm also responsible for you until day 30. If something happens because I was tired, that's on me." He looked at her. "Why are you awake?" "The threat scared me more than I want to admit. I'm not used to feeling unsafe." "Come here." She moved to the couch beside him. He pulled up his security monitoring system. "See these cameras? I've installed additional surveillance around your building. All legal, all registered with building management. Anyone approaches your floor, I know about it. Your windows have pressure sensors. If someone tries to enter, alarm sounds. I've programmed my phone to alert if you move in your sleep in a pattern consistent with distress. You're not unsafe, Bella. Not while I'm here." The thoroughness of his preparation was both touching and slightly overwhelming. "You really take this seriously." "I take everything seriously. It's how I built an empire." He paused. "And despite my initial resentment, I've come to respect you. You're smart, brave, principled in ways I'm not. Keeping you safe feels important, not just contractually." "Taejoon," an alarm on his laptop shrieked. Someone just entered the building's third-floor stairwell, the blind spot I flagged. Taejoon was moving instantly, grabbing a weapon from his bag. "Stay here. Lock the door behind me. Don't open it for anyone but me." "I'm not hiding while you—" "Bella, I'm trained for this. You're not. Please, let me do my job." He left before she could argue. Bella locked the door, heart hammering, listening to the sounds from outside. Footsteps on stairs, a shout, the distinctive sound of a physical altercation. Then silence, terrible, endless silence. Bella grabbed her phone, ready to call police, when Taejoon's voice came through the door. "It's me. Open up." She did. Taejoon stood there with a man in a chokehold, unconscious, professional tactical gear, carrying a suppressed pistol. "Professional hit," Taejoon said grimly. "He was coming for you. I've already called my security team. They're contacting police with a cover story that doesn't expose my identity." "But Bella, this is serious. Someone wanted you dead tonight." "Who?" "Won't know until he wakes up and talks. But whoever sent that email wasn't bluffing." The would-be assassin was handed over to authorities. Korean intelligence got involved. Within 24 hours, they traced the threat back to a Chinese mining corporation that would lose billions if Bella's trade deal succeeded. "They're calling off negotiations," Bella's ambassador told her. "Too dangerous. You'll be reassigned." "No." Bella's voice was firm. "We don't negotiate with economic terrorists. We increase security and finish what we started. Otherwise, every future negotiation will be vulnerable to threats. Bella, they tried to kill you, and failed because I have excellent protection." She looked at Taejoon, standing silently in the corner. "I'm not running. I'm finishing this deal. With proper security." After the ambassador left, Taejoon approached her. "That was brave. Also possibly stupid. I learned from the best. Bella smiled slightly. You didn't have to risk yourself last night. Could have called police, stayed safe, but you went out there alone to protect me. Why? Because, he stopped, struggling with words. Because 20 days ago, you were an annoying diplomat who humiliated me. Now you're someone I don't want to see hurt. Someone who matters. Taejoon, don't make this complicated. We have 12 days left on this contract. Let me finish the job. Then we go back to our separate worlds. And if I don't want separate worlds? The question hung between them, dangerous, loaded, changing everything. Taejoon looked at her with something raw in his eyes. Want, fear, possibility. Then we're both in trouble, because I'm a criminal and you're a diplomat, and those worlds don't mix. Maybe they could, if both people were willing to meet in the middle. You'd want that, someone like me. I want someone who sees me as an equal, who challenges me, who protects me without diminishing me. Someone who plays poker as brilliantly as I do, even when he loses. She moved closer. You're not what I expected, Kwon Taejoon. You're better. He kissed her then, desperate, honest, months of tension finally breaking through careful professional distance. When they separated, both were breathing hard. 12 more days, Taejoon said. Let's keep you alive. Then we'll figure out what this is. Deal. Neither mentioned that someone had just tried to kill her, that 12 days might not be enough, or that falling for each other was possibly the most dangerous thing either had done. But for that moment, in Bella's apartment with Seoul's lights glittering outside, it felt like they might actually have a chance. Days 21 to 25 were a blend of professional intensity and personal complication. Bella pushed forward with trade negotiations, despite the assassination attempt. Taejoon increased security to presidential levels. Advanced teams scouting locations, counter-surveillance measures, even hiring additional bodyguards from his own organization. Your people are criminals, Bella pointed out. My people are loyal, highly trained, and genuinely invested in keeping you alive, because I told them to be. That's better than your diplomatic security who barely noticed the blind spot that almost got you killed. He wasn't wrong. Bella had quietly requested that her official detail be supplemented by Taejoon's team. The combination of legitimate diplomatic protection and underground expertise created an impenetrable security bubble. But the bubble also meant constant proximity to Taejoon. You're hovering, Bella said, during a negotiation session. He stood 6 feet away, eyes scanning the room constantly. That's my job. Your job is to keep me safe, not to distract me by looking like you want to murder everyone in this room. I do want to murder half of them. The other half I just deeply distrust. Despite the tension, negotiations progressed. Bella secured preliminary agreements worth $200 million in mining contracts. The South African embassy was thrilled. Korean partners were impressed. And Taejoon was quietly proud, though he'd never admit it. You're exceptional at this, he told her one evening in her apartment. They'd fallen into a routine, him reviewing security footage, her reviewing contract documents, both working in comfortable silence. At what? Negotiating? At everything. Diplomacy, reading people, standing firm under pressure. You're wasted on government work. You could run a corporation or a country. I prefer using my skills to help people, not exploit them. And that, Taejoon said quietly, is what makes you better than me. The vulnerability in his voice made Bella look up. You keep saying things like that, like you've decided you're irredeemable. I've done things you can't imagine, Bella. Hurt people, destroyed lives, built my empire on fear and manipulation. I'm not some misunderstood hero waiting to be reformed. I know. I've read your file. The South African Intelligence Service is very thorough. She set down her papers. I know about the protection rackets, the rigged gambling operations, the violence. I'm not naive about who you are. Then why look at me like you're seeing something good? Because I am seeing something good. The man who spent extra hours learning diplomatic protocols so he wouldn't embarrass me. Who reads threat assessments at 3 a.m. to keep me safe, who could have fulfilled the minimum terms of our bet, but instead goes above and beyond every single day. She moved closer. You're more than your worst choices, Taejoon. You just need to believe that. You make it sound simple. It's not. Change is brutal, terrifying work. But you're already doing it. You just don't realize it. He kissed her again, slower this time, deliberate. When they separated, his forehead rested against hers. 5 more days. Then the bet ends. Then what? Then I stop being your employee and start being something else, if you'll have me. What about your world and mine not mixing? Maybe we build a new world, one where a reforming criminal and a principled diplomat figure out how to exist together. He smiled slightly. You did win me in a bet. That's basically a romantic comedy premise, except for the assassination attempts and organized crime. Minor details. Day 27 brought complications neither anticipated. Taejoon's second-in-command, Lee Sang, requested an urgent meeting. They met at a secured location, one of Crimson Hawk's legitimate casino offices. Boss, we have a problem. Several lieutenants are questioning your situation. 30 days serving as a bodyguard has made us look weak. 3 rival organizations are testing our territories. Handle it. I am handling it. But boss, they're also questioning your judgment. Spending a month with a diplomat, personal protection detail, rumors of romantic involvement, it's making people wonder if you're compromised. My personal life is not their concern. Your personal life affects the organization when it involves a foreign diplomat negotiating deals worth hundreds of millions. Some people think she's using you, that you lost more than a poker game. Sang's voice was careful. They're saying Kwon Taejoon has gone soft. The accusation stung because there was truth in it. Taejoon had changed in 27 days. Not soft, but different. More conscious of consequences. Less willing to use violence as a first resort. Bella had done that to him. Tell the lieutenants I'll address this after day 30. Until then, anyone who challenges my authority can find another organization. After Sang left, Taejoon sat alone in his office, confronting an uncomfortable truth. He'd been willing to risk his empire for a woman he'd known less than a month. That evening, Bella noticed his distance immediately. What happened? My organization thinks I'm compromised, that you're using me, making me weak. Are they wrong? About you using me? Yes? About me being compromised? He looked at her seriously. Maybe. 3 weeks ago, I wouldn't have hesitated to eliminate a threat violently. Now I call lawyers, negotiate, look for diplomatic solutions. That's your influence, Bella. And it's making me vulnerable in a world where vulnerability gets you killed. So, what are you saying? I'm saying that after day 30, I need to make a choice. Be the crime lord my organization needs, or be the man you've made me want to become. I can't be both. Why not? Because those are incompatible identities. Are they? Taejoon, you run legitimate casinos alongside underground operations. You employ thousands of people legally. What if instead of dismantling your empire, you transform it? Keep the legitimate parts, exit the criminal operations, become someone who builds instead of destroys. That's naive. My criminal operations fund everything. Then replace that funding with legitimate growth. You're brilliant at business. I've watched you negotiate, strategize, read markets. Apply that to legal enterprises. Build something Sung and your lieutenants can be proud of without constantly looking over their shoulders. You make it sound possible. It is possible. It's also hard, risky, and requires changing everything you know. But Taejoon, you've been protecting me for 27 days. In that time, you've prevented 4 security breaches, stopped an assassination, and helped me negotiate deals worth hundreds of millions. You did all that while technically being my employee. Imagine what you could do with actual freedom to build something good. He pulled her close, holding her like she was an anchor. You believe in me. Why? Because you believe in me. Because you saw a diplomat with a good poker face and looked past the surface. Because when I won that bet, you could have defaulted, but you honored your word. That's character, Taejoon. That's worth building on. If I do this, if I actually try to transform Crimson Hawk, it'll take time. Years, maybe. And I'll make enemies. People who profit from my criminal operations won't want to lose that income. Then we do it together. My diplomatic skills, your business acumen, we build something better. You'd stay? Help me? My assignment in Seoul is another 2 years minimum. I'd rather spend that time building something good with you than pretending we don't matter to each other. Taejoon kissed her desperately. 3 more days. Then I'm free of the bet, and we can do this properly. Date like normal people, without contractual obligations hanging over us. Normal people? Taejoon, we're a diplomat and a crime lord. We're never going to be normal. Then we'll be extraordinary instead. Day 29. One day before the bet ended, everything collapsed. Bella was giving a final presentation at the Blue House, securing the trade deal's last signatures. Taejoon was with her, as always, scanning for threats. Then his phone buzzed with an emergency alert from Sung. Boss, casino raids, multiple locations, police, tax authorities, international investigators. Someone leaked everything. Operations are burning. Taejoon's face went pale. I need to leave. Now. What's happening? My empire is being dismantled. Every illegal operation, every gray area deal, everything. Someone exposed it all to authorities simultaneously. This is a coordinated attack. Who? I don't know, but I need to go handle it before my entire organization collapses. Wait. Bella grabbed his arm. The bet. You have 1 day left. If you leave me now, unprotected, you default. Bella, my life's work is being destroyed. And I need you here. There are still threats against me. Trade negotiations to finalize. So I'm supposed to stand here while everything I built burns. His voice was raw. You got your 30 days of humiliation. Let me go save what's left. The words were cruel, and they both knew it. You think this was just about humiliating you? Wasn't it? Powerful diplomat puts arrogant crime lord in his place, makes him serve, makes him change, makes him fall in love just to prove she could? Taejoon's pain was lashing out. Maybe my lieutenants were right. Maybe you were using me. Bella stepped back, hurt flashing across her face. If you really believe that, then go. Save your criminal empire. But Taejoon, if you walk out now, you prove everyone right, that your word means nothing when it's inconvenient. That you're just another gangster who folds under pressure. That's not fair. Life's not fair. You taught me that. Now choose. Honor your commitment or prove you were never worth believing in. Taejoon stood there, torn between the woman he loved and the empire he'd built, knowing that choosing one meant losing the other. He left. Bella watched him go, feeling something crack inside her chest. She'd believed he was different, believed he was changing. But when it mattered, he chose power over principle. Taejoon arrived at his office to find chaos. Multiple properties being raided, bank accounts frozen, employees arrested. Someone had meticulously compiled evidence of every illegal operation and handed it to every relevant authority simultaneously. Who did this? He demanded. We don't know, Sang said. But boss, whoever it was had inside information, detailed records. This wasn't external investigation. This was betrayal. As Taejoon reviewed the leaked documents, he realized something. The information was too perfect, too complete. Someone had spent months compiling this. Someone close. Then he found it, buried in metadata. The files had been accessed from within his organization, by someone with high-level clearance, by Sang. It was you. Taejoon's voice was cold. Sang didn't deny it. You were going soft, getting weak over a diplomat. I did what was necessary to save Crimson Hawk. By destroying it, by forcing you to choose, you can rebuild the criminal operations, eliminate the legal pressure, go back to who you were, or you can walk away to your diplomat girlfriend and let real leadership take over. Sang pulled a gun. What's it going to be, boss? Taejoon looked at the gun, at his former friend, at the empire crumbling around him, and made the hardest choice of his life. I choose her. He walked away, left the office, left his organization, left everything he'd built for 20 years. Because Bella was right. If he couldn't honor his word when it was difficult, he was exactly what she'd accused him of being. He returned to the Blue House 2 hours after leaving. Bella's presentation had ended. She was leaving, surrounded by diplomatic security. Bella! She turned, shocked. What are you doing here? Your empire is gone, betrayed from the inside, destroyed by authorities, probably going to face legal consequences for years. He reached her, breathless. But I chose to come back, to honor my commitment, because you were right. My word is the only thing that matters, and I gave it to you. Taejoon, you didn't have to. Yes, I did, because you believed in me when I didn't believe in myself. Because you showed me there's more to life than power and fear. Because I love you, and that's worth more than any empire. He took her hands. I have one more day on our bet. Tomorrow, I'm a free man who's probably going to be arrested for organized crime. But today, I'm your bodyguard. So let me finish the job. Bella was crying. You chose me. I chose us. I chose becoming someone worthy of you, even if it costs me everything else. She kissed him, not caring that diplomatic security and curious onlookers were watching. We'll figure this out. Together, I promise. Together, he agreed. Starting with day 30. Day 30 arrived with both triumph and uncertainty. Bella's trade deal was finalized. $200 million in contracts secured, South African-Korean relations strengthened, her diplomatic career solidified. The ambassador personally congratulated her. "And your unconventional security arrangement?" the ambassador asked carefully. "Mr. Kwon's 30-day commitment ends today." "It does, but I'm hoping to retain his services voluntarily." Meanwhile, Taejoon faced the consequences of Sang's betrayal. Korean authorities had enough evidence to prosecute multiple illegal operations. But Taejoon's lawyers negotiated a deal. Full cooperation, complete divestment from criminal enterprises, substantial fines, and 3 years probation. "You're getting off easy," the prosecutor told him. "Because you're providing testimony against worse actors and agreeing to dismantle everything. Don't make us regret this." "I won't." That evening, Taejoon arrived at Bella's apartment exactly 30 days after losing the poker game. He knocked formally, and she answered with a smile. "Your contractual obligation is complete," Bella said. "You're free to go." "What if I don't want to be free?" He stepped inside. "What if I want to renegotiate terms?" "What terms?" "I'm no longer a crime lord. I'm a businessman. Legitimate only. Slowly rebuilding what's left of Crimson Hawk Entertainment as an ethical company. I have no empire, questionable finances, and a criminal record. But I have skills, determination, and I'm in love with a diplomat who taught me that change is possible." He took her hands. "So I'm proposing new terms. I work as your security consultant. You help me transform my business. We figure out how to build a life together despite impossible circumstances. Deal?" "What about the pride? The humiliation of serving me?" "There's no humiliation in protecting someone you love, in being someone better than you were. You didn't humiliate me, Bella. You saved me." He smiled. "And I lost that poker game fair and square. Best loss of my life." "Then I accept your terms, with one addition." "What's that?" "Teach me more about poker. I want to keep my skills sharp." "Planning to hustle more crime lords?" "You never know when it might come in handy." He kissed her, laughing. "You're extraordinary. I learned from the best." 2 years later, Bella stood at the opening of Crimson Hawk Entertainment's new headquarters. Completely legitimate, entirely ethical, and wildly successful. Taejoon had rebuilt his empire as something good: luxury hotels, entertainment venues, event spaces. He'd hired former criminal associates who wanted legitimate work, created job training programs, partnered with social enterprises. "You've done it," Bella told him, surveying the celebration. "Built something better." "We've done it. Your diplomatic connections, your ethical framework, your refusal to let me compromise, that's what made this possible." He pulled her close. "I'm just the guy who lost a poker game and gained everything." Speaking of poker, Bella pulled a card from her purse. Ace of Hearts. "I've been practicing." "Rematch?" "What are the stakes this time?" "If I win, you marry me." "If you win, you also marry me? I'm rigging the game." Taejoon laughed, genuine, joyful, the sound of a man who'd found redemption. That's the best bet I've ever heard. They'd gotten engaged 6 months ago, planned a fusion wedding incorporating both Korean and South African traditions. Bella's diplomatic career had flourished. Taejoon's legitimate business thrived. They'd built something neither could have imagined that night at the casino. Do you ever regret it? Bella asked. Losing everything to gain this? I didn't lose everything. I lost the wrong things and gained the right ones. You, purpose, a clear conscience, a future worth living. He kissed her forehead. Best 30 days of my life, even when I hated every minute. You didn't hate every minute? No. I fell in love somewhere around day 14. Spent the rest trying to convince myself it was just professional. Failed at that pretty spectacularly. Thank God. Years later, they'd tell the story at dinner parties. How a diplomat hustled a crime lord at poker, forced him to be her bodyguard for 30 days, and accidentally reformed him in the process. Moral of the story, Bella would say, never underestimate your opponent. Moral of the story, Taejoon would counter, losing to the right person can change your life. Their children would grow up hearing about the legendary poker game, the bet that transformed everything, the 30 days that proved love could exist in the space between two impossible worlds. From one royal flush came a reformed empire, a love that defied logic, and proof that sometimes the best victories come from accepting defeat with grace. Kwon Taejoon lost a bet. He gained a life worth living, and Bella Okafor won far more than 30 days of service. She won a partner who'd proven that change, however difficult, was always possible when someone believed in you enough to make it worthwhile. The end. Thank you for following Bella and Taejoon's journey from poker rivals to partners in building something beautiful. If you loved their story of a bet that changed everything, subscribe for more. See you in the next one. Would you have taken the bet and risked humiliating a crime lord? Comment below.